I'm sure they didn't cast me because I'm not a Nepo baby. Well, yes, no, maybe, but not quite like you think. Within the last couple of years, these words, Nepo babies, have become very popular. You see it everywhere, and apparently they are everywhere. But is that really true? Or is it just an excuse we find to feel better for not booking the role? That's what we are gonna try to find out. Before we begin, hi, I'm Ivan Mader, and you are on the Act Club podcast. Please, if you really want to help the channel, hit subscribe, allow notification, and share the channel with all of your friends. That say, let's begin. First of all, let's determine together what is a Nepo baby. Well, before a few years ago, there weren't called Nepo babies. There were just sons of or daughters of. So a Nepo baby is a young person who decides to pursue a career in an industry where one parent or multiple parents are thriving already or are well established. I talked about it already in episode 5, but it was a long time ago, it was in French, and I wanted to go deeper on the subject. So, is it true? Are there really more Nepo babies in 2026? Let's find out. Let's see if we can find real statistics to deepen this research. It's very hot. So, I did my research and I found something interesting. A study done in 2026 looked at 4,400 actors under the age of 35 who appeared in American films between 2000 and 2025. Overall, 28% were classified as Nepo babies. But what's really interesting is the evolution. Between 2000 and 2010, Nepo babies represented 6 to 8% of young actors in films. In 2024, that number reached 16.6%. And in 2025, another analysis found that roughly 1 of 6 young actors had a parent who worked in the entertainment industry. But I want to point something out, even if the numbers are saying this. Doing the same job as one parent has always existed. And ironically, it was more the standard than the exception, so that the craft was transmitted generations after generations. For example, the blacksmith teach the son, and so on, and so on, and so on, years after years after years. So why does it disturb us so much when it's in the show business world and so more in the acting world? I mean, families of actors have always existed, and it goes way back to the 16th century with the Commedia dell'arte theater companies. Hell, even Molière had a mother and her daughter in the same company, and he even married the daughter. And maybe it was the case way before the 16th century. So, if families of actors have always existed since at least 500 years in the theater and nearly 100 years in the cinema, it seems logical that in 2026 we do find more of them. Whole families of actors. The Skarsgård family, I never managed to put this name right. I'm sorry. Maya Hawke, the daughter of Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman, Jamie Lee Curtis, Margaret Qualley, and so on, and so on, and so on. So why is it so irritating to see Nepo babies on screen? Because finding jobs in this industry is mostly based in connections. And the specificality is that in our world, even if we usually have one job, actor, we do have to find some regular gigs and constantly find regular gigs. So the more connections you have, the easier it gets to find more gigs faster and more regularly. That's a fact. I'm not gonna argue with that. That's the truth. That's mathematics. But the question now is, should we use this truth as an excuse to not go and find ourselves these kind of opportunities? Of course no. First of all, like I said in episode 5, let's not be hypocrites and let our jealousy get in the way. But I understand it can be frustrating. Believe me, for years I blamed Nepo babies for not booking the roles, for not getting some opportunities. And what good did it get me? None. I only wasted time. Let's translate that into the business and entrepreneur world. It's like a company who refuses to sell their product because the competition inherited the company from their parents. That doesn't make any sense, right? Yes, that's true. They do have an easier start, but again, this industry is ruthless. They can begin in one project, but they have to deliver every single time. If the actor is bad, they will not act again because the industry will not let them. And all of the Nepo babies we are talking about and what you think in your head right now are actually really good. So they work. And on a quite another subject, being a Nepo baby is not always easy, and I'm recommending to see the story of Jamie Lee Curtis because she's the daughter of two very famous actors and she's not had it easy. But that's another subject. So, if you spend all of your time complaining about them, that will not change their life. And the only person who will suffer is you. You will waste time, you will waste energy, and the worst thing, you will be seen as a bitter and jealous person in the industry. And we don't want that, right? Believe me, nobody would want that. I personally wasted so much time complaining, to finally realize that I had no control over this situation. And maybe that does feel good in the moment to bitch with fellow actors that think like you, but like I said, you will put yourself in a bad energy in the long term. And I do want to finish on something. When we say that 16% of young actors had a parent who worked in the entertainment industry, that doesn't mean that these 16% had their parent open every single door for them, because these actors we see on screen are just a tiny portion of these 16%. Yes, some of them have a parent who work in the entertainment industry, but that doesn't mean they're successful. Maybe they're an actor who's stuck in a day player roles, maybe a parent is a costume designer, maybe they work on the grip. So that doesn't mean they have the connection that are necessary to open them the doors. And maybe, just maybe, it's just families who happen to share the same passion. So we have to be very careful on what we label this kind of person. Of course, they exist and we see them on screen every single day. That's not the point. Instead, why aren't we building a community that supports and helps each other? Oh wait, that does exist. What was the name? It was something like Act. It was like a club, like the 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 Act Club. Yes, that's it. And You know what's really easy to join this community? You just have to follow the ACT Club on social media. You just have to hit subscribe, allow notifications, so we can create a better world for artists and actors who want a sustainable career. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please tell me in the comments what is your favorite Nepo babies, what you think about it. Until then, join the club because we all deserve happiness. Ciao!